He came in the dark. 2 glass bottles filled with fire. The governor was asleep. His wife, his children, all inside. At 2 a.m., the sky over Harrisburg lit up. This wasn't an accident. This was a message. But who was behind it? And why did he want the governor dead? It was just after 2 in the dead of night. The city of Harrisburg was silent. Streets empty. Sky clear. Nothing out of the ordinary. But behind the stone walls of the governor's mansion, something was about to break that silence. Inside the residence were 6 people. Governor Josh Shapiro, his wife, Lori, and their 4 children, all of them sound asleep. No one saw the man approach. No one heard him step through the shadows. But what he brought with him was deadly. 2 Molotov cocktails, glass bottles filled with fuel and fire. He lit them. He threw them. And then the mansion lit up. Fire spread across the side of the building. Smoke curled into the night sky. Security raced to wake the family. They were rushed out in time. No one was hurt. But this wasn't a prank. It wasn't a cry for help. This was an attempt to kill a governor. And whoever did it had a reason. Just before 2 in the morning, the quiet was shattered. A security guard on duty at the governor's residence noticed something strange. A faint glow. Then the sound of glass breaking. Then fire. It started small, but the flames spread fast. They danced along the stone walls, crawling toward the windows. The first bottle had hit near a back service door. The second struck a lower wall. Both exploded on impact. Fuel, fire, glass, smoke. This was no accident. The alarm system inside the mansion activated within seconds. Emergency lights came on. Motion detectors triggered. The system sent out an automatic alert to local fire crews. The security guard didn't wait. He sprinted inside. He woke the governor and his family. They were ushered out of the building and moved to a secure part of the property. By the time the fire trucks arrived, just 6 minutes later, the worst had already been prevented. The flames hadn't reached the bedrooms. The governor and his family were safe. But the mansion wasn't. One wing of the building was scorched. Blackened stone, charred wood, smoke stains curling up the side of the historic home. While firefighters worked to put out the last embers, the man behind the attack was already gone. But not for long. Just over an hour later, a man walked into the police station in nearby Penbrook. He was calm. He wasn't hiding. And he confessed. His name was Cody Allen Balmer, and what he told police would send shockwaves across the state. His name was Cody Allen Balmer, 38 years old, born and raised in Pennsylvania. He lived just minutes from the governor's mansion in a quiet neighborhood in Penbrook. Not a criminal, not a known threat, just invisible. Cody worked for years as a mechanic. Wrenches, engines, routine jobs. But over time, something changed. He stopped working. He stopped answering calls. And eventually, he stopped speaking to almost everyone. Neighbors said he kept his blinds closed day and night. Some didn't even know he lived there. Others described him as odd, but harmless. Behind those closed doors, though, Cody was spiraling. His family later told police he had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, but he refused treatment. He didn't trust doctors, didn't take medication. And then came the obsession. According to his relatives, Cody had become consumed with politics, especially foreign conflicts. He watched videos, read articles, and one topic kept coming up over and over: Palestine. He believed Governor Josh Shapiro had taken sides, and in Cody's mind, that made him an enemy, not just of politics, but of justice. Investigators searched his home. They didn't find bomb-making materials, no manifesto, no violent social media. But they did find fuel containers, glass bottles, and fuses. This wasn't random. This was planned. In silence and in anger, Cody Balmer wasn't just angry. He was unwell. Diagnosed years earlier with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia, Cody lived inside a world few others could see. A world of shifting reality, of paranoia, of pressure building in silence. His family had tried to help. They urged him to seek treatment, to take medication, to talk to someone. But Cody didn't believe he was sick. He believed he was awake, that everyone else was blind. Over time, his thoughts grew darker. He isolated himself. He stopped trusting the people around him, and eventually he stopped trusting the government altogether. Some days he'd rant about foreign wars. Other days he'd claim that certain leaders were part of the problem. One of those names again and again was Josh Shapiro. He saw the governor not as a person, but as a symbol, a target, a face attached to policies he despised. And without treatment, without intervention, Cody became something else entirely. He wasn't just angry at the world. He believed he had to act, that fire would be his answer. Why would a man with no criminal record, no history of violence, suddenly try to burn down the governor's home? Why target Josh Shapiro? Cody Balmer gave investigators his reason, and to him it wasn't complicated. He believed the governor supported policies that hurt the people of Palestine. He said, "He's on the wrong side." That's what Cody told police after turning himself in. But it wasn't a political statement. It was a warning. In his mind, Shapiro wasn't just another official. He was part of a larger machine, one Cody saw as corrupt, unjust, and dangerous. He didn't post about it. He didn't protest. He never called or wrote a letter. He kept it all inside, until it exploded in fire. And the deeper investigators looked, the more disturbing it became. There was no manifesto, no direct threat made, just quiet planning, fuel, bottles, a drive through the night, and a decision: this man needs to burn. Was it political rage? Was it untreated illness? Or was it both? No one close to Cody saw this coming. But now the motive is written in smoke, and the questions are just beginning. He didn't bring a gun. He didn't bring a bomb. But what Cody Balmer did bring was just as deadly. 2 glass bottles filled with gasoline, each one sealed with a rag soaked in fuel stuffed like a fuse. Homemade, cheap, lethal. These were Molotov cocktails, a weapon of protest, a weapon of war, a weapon built to set fire fast. Thrown at the right spot, they can engulf a car in seconds. A wooden house, gone in minutes. Now imagine those flames, just feet away from where a family was sleeping. He didn't need precision. He needed heat, and he got it. This wasn't reckless. It was intentional, and the damage proved it. The governor's mansion wasn't just a political landmark. It was a home. That night, it held a sleeping family. Governor Josh Shapiro, his wife, Lori, their 4 children all in their beds. They didn't hear the glass shatter. They didn't see the first flames. They were deep in sleep while fire crawled up the side of their home. It was the security guard who noticed it first. He saw the glow. He heard the crack of glass. He didn't hesitate. He ran inside. Room by room, he woke them all. No sirens yet, no firefighters. Just one man doing his job, saving lives. The governor and his family were rushed down the hallway, past the smoke, out the side door. into the night air, barefoot, confused, their home still burning behind them. They watched from the edge of the property as the flames took hold. They didn't know yet who was behind it. They didn't know why. But in that moment, it didn't matter. They had come within seconds of disaster. A political attack, a personal vendetta, a random act of terror. At that point, no one knew. All they knew was that someone had tried to burn them alive. This wasn't a back alley. It wasn't a random street. This was the official residence of a sitting-as governor, surrounded by fences, watched by cameras, guarded by trained security. And yet, Cody Balmer got close enough to light 2 firebombs and throw them at the building. So the question is simple: how? Was it a blind spot in the cameras? Was security caught off guard? Or was it something worse, a vulnerability no one ever expected to be exploited? Officials say the perimeter was secure. Motion detectors, guards on rotation. But somehow, none of it stopped him in time. He didn't break in. He didn't force his way through the front gate. He walked up in the dark, tossed 2 bottles over the fence, and walked away. No gunfire, no confrontation, just fire and silence. After the attack, security procedures were reviewed. Patrol schedules were changed. Surveillance was upgraded. But the truth is uncomfortable. Someone got close enough to kill, and no one saw it coming. Just a few hours after the flames were put out, Cody Allen Balmer walked into a police station. No disguise, no resistance, no escape plan. He walked into the Penbrook Police Department calm and alone. He told the officer at the desk, "I did it." He confessed on the spot, said he was the one who threw the firebombs, said he knew exactly who was inside the house. It wasn't some drunken act. It wasn't a mistake. He meant to do it, and he admitted everything. Police didn't even have to search for him. He brought the case straight to their doorstep. He was arrested on the spot. No bail, no delays. The charges came quickly. Attempted murder, aggravated arson, aggravated assault, terrorism. Each one carries serious time. And when stacked together, he could face life in prison. But for now, Cody sits in a cell. No visitors, no press conferences, no regrets. And the state of Pennsylvania waits for the trial, for answers, and for a justice that still feels unreal. News of the attack spread fast. By sunrise, headlines were everywhere. Governor's mansion attacked. Firebombing in Harrisburg. Governor Shapiro targeted. The story hit hard not just in Pennsylvania, but across the country. A political leader nearly killed in his sleep. His family just steps away from the flames. Governor Josh Shapiro released a short statement the next day. He thanked first responders. He praised his security team, and he called the attack deeply personal. But he didn't lash out. He didn't politicize the moment. He stayed calm, focused, measured. Behind the scenes, state police and federal agencies launched a deeper investigation. Was this part of a larger threat? Was Cody Balmer acting alone? The White House responded with concern. Senators from both parties condemned the attack. Local leaders called it a wake-up call. Because if someone could do this to a governor's family, who else might be next? Across social media, the reactions were intense. Some blamed politics. Some blamed mental illness. Some blamed everything. But one thing was clear. The line between online anger and real-world violence had just been crossed. Now, the story moves into the courtroom. But this won't be a typical trial. This won't be clear-cut, because the man who confessed might not be sane enough to stand trial. Cody Balmer's lawyers are already preparing an insanity defense. They're claiming he didn't fully understand what he was doing, that his mind, not his morals, was broken. But prosecutors aren't buying it. They say this was premeditated. They say he planned it in silence. He made firebombs. He picked the target. He knew who was inside. This wasn't random. This was deliberate. If Cody is found mentally incompetent, he may never serve prison time. He could be sent to a psychiatric facility indefinitely. But if he's ruled sane, even partially, he could face life without parole. Now, a judge must decide. Was Cody Balmer a sick man who snapped, or a domestic terrorist who used mental illness as a mask? The courtroom will be the battleground. Psychologists, testimonies, security footage, evidence, and above all, one terrifying question. How do you sentence a man who walked into the fire willingly? This wasn't just about one man, one night, one Molotov cocktail. This was bigger, because what happened in Harrisburg could happen anywhere, and it's already happening. Across the country, mental health is in crisis. People are slipping through the cracks. They go untreated, unnoticed, and unheard. Some become isolated. Some get angry, and some go looking for answers in the darkest places. Cody Balmer believed the world was broken, that injustice was everywhere, that someone had to pay. And online he found fuel. Articles, videos, echo chambers, not terrorism training, not violent instructions, just anger, disguised as truth, packaged as news. That's how radicalization works today. Not through weapons, but through words. Not in camps, but in comment sections. And when someone is already fragile, already paranoid, already desperate for a reason to act, all it takes is a spark. In this case, it was fire. Next time, it could be worse. That's the real story behind the governor's mansion. Not just an attack, but a warning we can't afford to ignore. This wasn't the first time someone tried to strike at power, and it won't be the last. Across American history, political figures have always been targets, sometimes by enemies, sometimes by their own citizens. In 1951, a Puerto Rican nationalist opened fire in the U.S. Capitol. In 2011, Congresswoman Gabby Giffords was shot outside a grocery store. In 2022, a man with a knife was arrested near Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home. Different decades, different motives, same result. The idea that if one person can get close enough, they can change everything. But what makes the Cody Balmer case unique is the weapon. Not a gun, not a knife, fire. Fire is primal. It doesn't need precision. It doesn't need aim. Just intent and fuel. And fire sends a message. It's why arson has been used by extremists for decades. It's loud. It's chaotic. It's terrifying. And now it's come to a governor's front door. We've seen this before. And unless something changes, we'll see it again. This wasn't just an attack on a building. It was an attack on a family. The governor, his wife, their children. Woken up by a security guard in the middle of the night. Rushed out of their home, while fire burned just feet away. Imagine what that does to a child. To wake up to smoke, to flames, to fear. The Shapiro family survived, but that night changed them. And not just them. Neighbors across Harrisburg felt it too. People who once felt safe now double-lock their doors, worried that if a governor can be targeted, who's next? Local schools increased security. State employees were offered counseling. And in Penbrook, the small, quiet town where Cody Balmer lived, people are still stunned. Some say they never saw it coming. Others say the signs were there and ignored. But everyone agrees on one thing. This shook something deep because it reminded people that violence doesn't need permission. It doesn't need a reason everyone understands. It just needs a moment. And the damage doesn't go away when the fire is gone. The fire is out. The mansion is standing. And the governor is alive. But the scars, they're still there. On the walls, in the minds, and in the questions we're left with. What makes a man set fire to a sleeping family? What pushes someone from silence to destruction? Was it mental illness, political obsession, or a terrifying mix of both? Cody Balmer didn't run. He didn't hide. He threw fire at power, then walked into a police station and said, "I did it." He left behind no manifesto, no movement, no clear agenda, just ashes and a warning. Because this wasn't just about one man. It's about all the other quiet ones out there, the ones no one sees coming, the ones who believe fire is a form of justice. And maybe next time we won't be as lucky. If this story made you think, don't scroll past. Subscribe for more true crime stories like this one. And remember, the most dangerous people are the ones who burn in silence.